A recent arrival to the mining community of Browntown in Pennsylvania's Pittston Township, Luciano Perrino quickly became a successful business owner. Immediately following his October 21, 1905 shooting death, authorities discovered that he was a well-connected underworld figure and had been the prime suspect in the spring 1903 barrel murder in New York City. According to the local press, Perrino had moved into the Browntown community about 3 months earlier, establishing a grocery on the western side of South Main Street, opposite Pine Street. 2 months later, he opened a butcher shop, perhaps on what is now called Oak Street, about a block from the Perrino home on Lincoln Street. Perrino lived with his wife and 2 children in an isolated structure that the press said was adjacent to a field. If Lincoln Street has not moved since that time, the field was likely a portion of the St. Rocco Cemetery, which sits behind some Lincoln Street homes today. Perrino spent a long day at the butcher shop on October 21st. He closed the store at 10:30 that night and began the short walk home on a dark street. A few paces from his doorway, something caught Perrino's attention and caused him to draw a .38 caliber revolver. Hidden gunmen opened fire on him. A slug struck and disabled Perrino's firearm before he could pull its trigger. Pelted with small shot and pierced by large caliber slugs, Perrino fell dead with the weapon still in his hand. The local newspaper reported that 4 gaping holes had been blasted into his body and that the bones of his right elbow had been shattered nearly to dust. One of the large slugs passed entirely through the body, severing the spinal cord on its way out. Perrino's right side and right hip had been peppered with small shot fired at close range. The gunmen quickly fled from their places of ambush as Perrino's wife rushed screaming to her husband. Police officers Price and Pendergast responded to the scene and had Perrino's body moved to the Leiden and Murray mortuary on South Main Street for an autopsy performed by Dr. A.J. Baker. Perrino was found to be carrying a long knife and 19 extra cartridges along with his revolver. If not looking for a fight, he had at least been preparing for one. The dead man was said to have a powerful physique and handsome features. He was 5 foot 7 inches tall and weighed 220 pounds. After a brief investigation, police announced that Perrino had a lengthy criminal record, including an arrest for counterfeiting, an indictment in the infamous New York City Barrel Murder, an arrest and fine in April 1905 for selling unlicensed cigars, and suspicion of involvement in the murder of Frank Coloro at Browntown in June 1905. Coloro's body, riddled with bullets and missing its head, was found in an old mine shaft near his home in the Cork Lane section, also known as McCarthyville, adjacent to Browntown. Coloro's head was later found at the bottom of the mine shaft. Due to Perrino's long criminal history and his tendency toward terrorizing Italian-American businessmen into supporting him and his businesses, police had no shortage of motives or suspects in the case. It was noted that a number of Pittston's Italian-American residents visited the morgue upon learning of his death. Some were observed smiling, and at least one expressed great joy at his demise. On the morning of October 24th, Perrino's widow and 10 other residents watched as his remains were loaded onto a wagon and taken to St. John the Evangelist Cemetery on Market Street. There were no religious services. No one attended the burial. The Perrino murder was not solved. In New York City, where Perrino was better known by the alias Tommaso Petto and by the nickname Il Bove, meaning the ox, police and press saw Perrino's killing as an act of vengeance stemming from the Barrel Murder. Joseph DePrima, brother-in-law of the Barrel Murder victim, was said to have been recently released from Sing Sing prison, and he could not be located.